Welcome to another Cornwall Chamber of Commerce meets the business partner, and today's business partner is Robert Rush from PFA Research. Welcome, Robert.
Good morning.
Good to meet you. All right.
And you?
Good, thank you. So the first thing I always like to ask is, when you come into the studio, is who are PFA Research? For those people out there who don't know who they are,
Okay.
What is it you do?
Yeah. So PFA Research it's what my industry calls as a full service market research agency.
Yeah.
So we help, other organisations take that evidence-led approach to their marketing strategy and their business planning, or understanding their customer markets better.
Yeah.
And so we provide the sorts of services that help them do that. We design research, we collect data, we analyze that data, we deliver it back as insights, and that helps them make it, as part of their management of their business. So if they've got better information, they can start to de-risk some of their business decisions.
Oh, fantastic. And I know you work very closely with the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce because you do our QES, our quarterly economic survey, which then goes up to to the BCC and gives them that information they need to see how businesses are doing, over a 12-month period sort of thing. So those quarterly, especially I know the Bank of England use it on a regular basis. So that's important. It's giving that information they need to move maybe interest rates or inflation or whatever's happening here in Cornwall. And we've got Siobhan Haviland coming down very, very shortly, to talk to the Cornish business community about what's happening down here. What is it we need down here in Cornwall? So that's important as well. So your research is important to us because it gives us that information we need to move things forward. So thank you for that, and I really appreciated it. So where did it all start for you? How long have you lived in Cornwall? Where did PFA start? Where's that journey taking you?
Well, it's an interesting story, and it's not all mine. But so I'm Cornish. I grew up in Camelford. I still live in Camelford, literally on the same road that I grew up in.
Oh, amazing!
And my home, my family, and my life is still largely around there.
Yeah.
I went to Cornwall College at 16.
So did I. I remember going to Cornwall College. Yeah.
I did computer studies.
Yeah.
And then I studied microelectronics, and then I went off to Huddersfield Polytechnic in those days.
Polytechnics.
And studied electronic engineering and electronics and information engineering.
And you drank some Vimto, apparently.
I had a roommate that just survived on Vimto, and I barely heard of it myself. But yes, and I discovered real ales and everything else as well.
That's the good stuff.
And I think it might be the last time I ever drank lager. So that was my life, so that took me up to a 23 or something, and I became a full-time job hunter. 91. Getting ahead of myself. I became a full-time job hunter in those days, and I thought I was going off, having had a couple of spells of work experience with Ministry of Defence at Aldermaston and with BT's research laboratories over at Marsham. I thought I was going to go and be a software engineer, but that wasn't the case, and the country was in the early 90s recession at the time. All the graduate programs went, and I became a full-time job hunter, and I think it was the 40th job I applied for, which was for this company, PFA Limited, was setting up, which was a London-based management consultancy, was setting up a research arm in Cornwall, and they wanted people that could find their way around a computer. If you had a knowledge of the telecoms market, which I did, you could converse with senior management people, and you could do research. They were interested, and I thought, I could do it. So I applied. Turned up 3/4 of an hour late for my interview because I got lost around Bodmin Moor, and so it got sold at my interview. Told, well, Robert, you'll never be a salesman, but they did think it might be useful having somebody like me around because I could find my way around a computer.
which is key.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd do this for a couple of years,
yeah,
and then go and get a proper job.
Yeah.
So that was 91, and they set up the business in Bodmin.
Yeah.
And that was where it started.
Yeah.
It was a long start to it, but that's where it started. So I didn't set up PFA Research, but I did join it right at the beginning as it started up. I helped structure and form a lot of the things we do now. I cut my teeth as a market researcher on the telephones, collecting data, analysing data. I was a better analyst than I was a data collector. And that's kind of where it started.
Oh, fantastic. And this is where you are now?
This is where I am now. I later bought into the company. I've been a director of it for about 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it's MD for that time. And
Don't give your age away. 20 years.
No. I'm 20-something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it is. And the company's gone through a number of changes and things since, but
brilliant. Oh, fantastic.
We're in, what are we now? 30. It's in its 32nd year.
Wow. Well, congratulations, because again, many businesses don't last that long here in Cornwall. So, hat off, because, to get through those recessions we've talked about, 2008 as well. And obviously we're going through some kind of recession now, but they say it is, they say it isn't. But, you've done really well to be where you are now. So why be a business partner with Cornwall Chamber of Commerce? What made you decide?
I think, well, it's interesting. When I took over the company, and for its first few years, the company didn't have a local client.
Oh, right.
It was really the research arm of a London-based company.
Yeah.
I mean, those companies separated many years before. But when I took over, I figured that if we were going to have a chance, we needed to understand our local market better. I felt it was almost a sense of, I don't know, shame is the wrong word, it's too strong, but that sense of, we're a business in Cornwall, we know nothing about our local community as a business. I was Cornish, or our team lived locally, but we weren't part of it. And we joined the Cornwall Chamber probably 20 odd years ago.
Oh, right, okay. Well before Kim's time then.
It was before Kim's time, and it was long before the chamber had a structure and a sense of stability about it. There were some
and a
great
purpose
people
as well. Really, I mean, we've got a purpose now.
I think so. And so that's the chamber. We've joined the chamber. So I've been coming along to chamber breakfast events, and maybe not so many at the minute that I'd like to, but for about 20 years.
Well, we ask us to the gym, don't we? Often, don't we? We have too many breakfasts.
Well, that's it. We've got figures to look after. Away. And so that's that. And as you alluded to earlier, we've been running the QES for
quite some time.
I guess, well, again, longer than since Kim started. The former chief executive wanted a member to be running that survey because previously it wasn't, and so we've been doing that. So it makes it's a very natural position for us to be in. The QES is a great example of that collaboration. I think. I'm always worried that we perhaps don't do enough for the chamber out of that.
I think there's an opportunity, which we can discuss offline here. But I think there's a lot of data collation we do need at the Chamber of Commerce, and I think even businesses out there as well are going to need that data, especially the coming years. So if you're a business out there and watching this podcast, please get in touch with Robert and just see how he can help and support your business and give you that information you need. So just finally. We talked about where you see yourself in the next 4 or 5 years, and hopefully that'll be as a business partner with the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce. How many people do you employ at the moment, and do you see that growing? If the business in Cornwall supports you more, would that grow? Do you think?
Well, we have been growing, and it's been an interesting time. There's talk about the company's 30 years old, but it's every few years it's almost like the business life cycle isn't a nice linear journey for lots of small companies. It's up and down, and you almost go back to, you don't go back to startup, but you do go back to a period of growth and maturity, and different parts of the businesses are in different places at the same time. So COVID and lockdown was an interesting time for us. And one of the opportunities that presented to us, and we were introduced by a contact through Robert Salvoni, who the gentleman will know well, and has been in these studios, and is a great friend of PFA's. And he made an introduction to a company that we had done some work with just outside of Manchester.
Right, okay.
And we effectively took over this company lockdown that was closing, and we saw an opportunity there to expand our team.
Brilliant.
So that's been a really significant part of it, because what that's done is we are headquartered in Cornwall, but we are a national company. Our clients, our biggest client is actually in the Netherlands. We have a partnership. We're part of a formal network that is that gives us partners in Germany, Spain, France, Italy are the key ones, and in South America. So we are the UK representative of the Artists Network. So we have we have true international reach, and a client base that is across the UK. So in terms of number of employees, we're currently around 35, I think.
That's great.
Lots of those are in Cornwall, but some of them are not. And the nature of the way we've had to do a bit of reshaping of the business over the last couple of years and move away from the dependency of premises means that we've actually opened it up, and we have staff, we have researchers in Northern Ireland and across the UK, and that's been a great benefit. So we're cautious. It's an interesting time. You know, we mustn't allow ourselves to talk ourselves into recession. But,
no.
We you know, there's always that. You know, Kim talks about that cautious optimism in Cornwall. You have to get on, look after, do what's right for yourself.
You certainly do.
And so we're making lots of investments in software and tech at the moment. We're currently involved on the B23 B Corp program, so that's a big deal for us.
Yeah, fantastic.
We're now accredited as a real living wage employer. That's been a big deal for us to make sure we can say that. And other things like quality standards, or a market research company, market research society company partner. So all these things have kind of happened in recent years. So it's a bit like about setting down, so resetting some foundations at the moment. So
brilliant.
I can't tell you where we're going to be in 5 years. I think I'm still involved. There will come a time where I will say, let's hand it up. I'd love to actually get to the place where the dependency moves away from one or two of our key senior people, me, perhaps through to employee ownership or something like that. Would be a great place to go, but we're not quite ready to go there yet.
No worries at all. But it's been fascinating talking to you. And again, I said at the end of every one of these podcasts, thank you for being a business partner. Without business partners and members, the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce wouldn't be here. So thank you for your support. Really enjoyed that. Looking forward to the 23-24 business partnership and seeing where that takes us. It's exciting times. And thank you for coming in today, Robert Rush.
Thanks, Darren.
Cheers.